live.
taping, and then I'll do a quorum, and then I'll get to you,
But you know what?
let me pull up my agenda. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, 17 April 2024, and this is a regular board meeting of the Waterville Valley Select Board. I am Rich Rita, the chair, and with me here today, Bob Freeze, the vice chair, and Wendy Rathgeber, the select board member. So we have a quorum. So I'd like to call Kim now, Rawson, to talk to us. I believe it's item 7A. No, yes, 7. Pull up the right one.
7A. That's correct. 7A.
Oh, okay, 7A, thank you. To discuss the community power, excuse me, we're not community power, we are the Waterville Valley
Well, it's community power.
Community Power. I'm trying to remember the
Yeah.
official name, but anyway, go ahead. I'm wasting your time.
No, it's fine. So thank you. And just a quick update for where things stand right now. So Standard Power did go ahead and remove Good Energy's name from our community power plan. And it was also added in that the PUC did approve our plan. So that was just communicated because they're not actually, Good Energy is not actually providing Waterville Valley any services. So their name was taken off of the community power plan. So those two things are taken care of. And then we're looking more towards June to know, we'll know about the utility rates and if the conditions are going to be favorable for an October launch. So that's where things stand. We are still committed to only launching, of course, when we save money. So that's why things just keep getting pushed out. And that might take a while. That's okay. And the pricing meetings have not yet been set, but as soon as they are set, Mark plans to attend, and Mark can also appoint an alternate.
Well, they have to.
Sorry, Mark can request an alternate
Mhm.
person, just in case he's unable to attend the bidding meeting. So
Do you have a person in mind?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Yes, all
So
right.
I would love to attend if Mark is unable to attend. I think
right.
it's all.
So I make the
back-
motion, and Kim Rawson will be the Waterville Valley's alternate member for the official name is
It's the bidding process.
the bidding process for the community power.
Yeah, it's the ESA.
Plan.
It's officially the ESA meeting and review of rates.
What he said. Okay.
Yeah.
To have a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Awesome. This is a personal matter, so sorry, it's not on the agenda, but really quickly, my 10-year-old daughter Louisa was hoping to wheel a cart of lemonade around for weekends for 2 months in May and June. She's learning about starting a business. And I didn't know if there was a form that I needed to fill out or if there's requests that I need, like permission that I need to gain from.
Oh, this is
We have dealt with this before.
yes,
And the way that we've dealt with it, we have an off-site solicitation
permit.
application, permit application,
Okay,
which is available online, I think, on the town website, under
Okay.
the forms
Mhm.
tab.
Yeah,
And if
maybe
you
a
have
good
any questions, you can give
Yeah.
us a call, but that gets filled out and comes into the board.
okay.
and we will approve it, but she wants to start before our next meeting on the,
Get out with her friends this weekend and, sell some lemonade.
okay, well, I'm fine with that, with the permit, to come
If
in.
one is in process, I'd be comfortable with that.
So I will make sure that it's in process tonight, tomorrow night.
It's a
I know
good
it's
first
just-
step for her to learn about the.
Well,
process.
exactly,
Yeah.
welcome to, yeah.
Terrible we are.
You want to sell lemonade? Fill out this
Fill
form.
out this form.
Oh, yeah,
In
and
triplicate.
it'll cost you $10, right, or whatever.
I do
I think we've waived the
typically
fee.
recommend waiving.
The
Yeah,
fee,
waive the
all right,
fee.
well, we can at least
Yeah.
agree on whatever what is the fee, actually?
Bankrupt her at this point. She's already dug up her whole base, so.
Ah, I see,
Yeah.
okay, no, that's
Quite
fine.
Expensive, okay,
Good.
all right. Thank
All right,
you.
if,
Appreciate it.
yeah, just get the form in, and I think we've approved it.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
Anything else?
Nope.
Nope,
That's
that
it.
was it.
Great.
Alrighty.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Kim. A quick correction. I said that today's date was 17 April. I believe it's actually 1
It's
May.
1 May.
Yeah, I must have lost a couple weeks.
I
in
do
there
have the
somewhere.
correct date on this too, so it wasn't me.
Yeah, no, that was just out of
Wishful
it.
thinking.
Well, I don't know if 2 weeks ago was a good day. Anyway. So on a more somber note, the town heard about a week and a half ago that a longtime town employee who had retired some time ago, Tom Smith, has passed away. And I don't know the details of his service, other that he served for many years and in the Department of Public Safety, and to include police chief for many years. So I'd like to turn it over to anybody here who would like to speak. I think he retired in 2000, was it? It was-
We released it in 2000.
So-
He started, we are positive about 81, 82.
Okay,
When he came here as a captain.
so
Police captain.
there probably aren't too many people around who remember Tom, but we do have one member
We
of the
do.
board who was there at the time. So Bob, would you like to make a
Sure,
few comments
sure.
about Tom?
First, I'd like to say Tom Smith was a really, really good guy. Appreciated by everybody in town, likable. He was very resort oriented in the way he conducted business. I was here from through the 80s and into 92, so I wasn't here at the end of his tenure, but he was respected. He wasn't a big guy. He was kind of a small guy. I remember one time when we had a music festival in the summer for many years, and the people that were running the music festival were spending money hand over fist. And we had limousines driving every act here from Boston, and the budget was going crazy. And so Barbara Beardsley was the chairman of the board of the music festival, and she wanted to fire this guy. And his office was in Dreams and Vision, was the where the office was for the music festival. And so she wanted to go in and fire him, but she was a little nervous because he was kind of a big guy. And so Tom Smith went in, and he wasn't too much bigger than her. So I was supposed to be the muscle and stand outside the door in case they needed it. And everything went fine. And another recollection was when Tom Smith stopped one of the condominium owners who was a little arrogant at the time. And he asked Tom Smith if he was one of Tom Corcoran's rent-a-cops.
Uh-oh.
And Tom Smith kept his cool and just gave him a warning and told him not to call him a rent-a-cop again. And but he was a good guy, and I found out that his wife is respecting his wishes not to have a service. And so he lived in Rumney, and I think he was a chief in Wentworth for a few years after here.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm still, police standards was supposed to research, but they said those were in boxes up buried somewhere, and I've yet to
Wow.
get back from that.
I saw on his on comments on the legacy page for the funeral home in Plymouth, two people mentioned that he had been the chief in I think in Wentworth, Warren, Wentworth or Warren, I'm not sure, one or the other. Anyway, he was a good guy. He was well respected in town, and we talked earlier about potentially having a plaque in someplace potentially at the cemetery in his honor. So
I think that would be great. Wendy, you
Yeah,
good
that'd
with
be
that?
appropriate, absolutely.
Maybe work on that, and
I'm assuming his family is good with that.
yeah, if that doesn't,
Yeah.
violate it, and if
I could run it by the.
yeah,
the-
it's just a
that'd be
plaque that
Just
is,
let me
that doesn't have to be a ceremony or anything.
Right.
We'll just put the plaque up.
Right.
But they're welcome to come, obviously, if they'd like when we
Right.
do that.
Dave? Any thoughts?
No, I think that's certainly appropriate if he's not having, anything around here. we had spoken just in preserving some of our historical stuff from the department. You know, kind of starting a, you know, a wall and or, you know, putting, everyone's picture up there that has served either as the police chief or the director, going back through the years and trying to get those pictures kind of to memorialize all those people that have come before us and at the, you
Mhm.
know, even in the station or in the lobby or wherever we find an appropriate place to do that.
Sure.
So,
I think that's a great idea. A lot of, a lot of, government organizations and even private businesses have sort of a wall where they put the pictures of former chief executives or directors of this
Yep.
or that, police chiefs and so forth. So I think that's certainly something else we could
Yeah.
we
yeah,
could support as a
reach
board.
out to Reggie and, you know, there might be some help there, you know, being able to. I have some old pictures, but I know there's some in the historical files that might be appropriate.
Great.
For that, but that's a project that I think we can,
Okay,
we'll be continually trying to work on.
very good. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say? So I would like to, just to close this out, say a few words. You know, public servants, and this is for the wider audience, public servants play a vital role in our society. They are the backbone of our communities, providing essential services and making significant contributions to our daily lives. I did not know Tom, but I can know what type of person he was, dedicated as he was to public service for so long. We should not only remember his life and work, but his dedication and commitment to service. Hopefully, it will inspire others to follow his footsteps and continue his legacy of service. Tom, the town of Waterville Valley remembers your service. May you rest easy. Okay. Shall we move on to privilege of the floor? Anybody here for privilege of the floor? That seems like a no. So we shall move on to our first, sorry, I'm just calling up my agenda again. Approval of the minutes. So we have two sets of minutes, 3 April 2024 and 26 April 2024. Any further comments on what we reviewed?
Did you want the number of stations? Because I don't have a number of stations in here.
Oh, I think it was 6.
I think Wendy,
Yeah, do
Wendy,
you want me to include 6 or just leave it as the stations? Because I think the way I heard the conversation was if you find other places and we approve them, I just don't want to have to keep coming back and forth.
okay,
If
no,
you're-
that's fine if that's.
Okay, we'll leave it open then.
All right,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments on those two sets of minutes? Can I have a motion to accept?
I'll move to
Approve.
accept the minutes of April 3rd and April 26th.
Second,
All in favor?
right,
Aye. So I think we just have one set left, right? The April
Yeah, I think
17th.
So I think that's.
Let's go ahead and move to financial report.
You have the report in the packet. Nothing jumped out at me on the report. Steve can address any specific questions if you have any.
well, last year, we would get more detailed expense on the expense side.
Okay,
And so this, right now, we're looking at pretty much a summary on the expense side.
oh, as far as breaking down general government and that sort of thing.
Right,
Okay,
I mean, it's,
and public safety, all right,
yeah, I guess it's hard to determine whether there's an issue, I think, because it's where it's all lumped together.
okay.
But we can go back to
Didn't we?
providing the,
Am I wrong? Didn't
no,
we?
no. In the past, we had the subcategories under the,
I mean, I don't think we have to
Under
go
the,
crazy, but
No.
you know,
the
I think
headings.
a somewhat of a further breakdown
Okay.
would be.
I will be asking for the board's patience as we roll into this new software. I'm gonna do my darndest to get all the reports created during the implementation period that starts on May 20th. The reports might look a little different, but I know what you're leading up to, Bob. You just wanna see it a little bit more of a
Yeah.
itemized description.
Yeah.
And I'll keep that in mind as I build up the report.
There might be some category that's over budget by a lot and we can't see it because it's
Rolled up into.
It's one subcategory of a
Yeah.
category.
Yep.
Okay, anything else?
other than that, I don't have any comments.
Wendy, any comments? Okay, let's move to, I think, department heads. Is that next
Yep,
on the
department
agenda?
heads.
Dylan. Good afternoon.
I know, look at that, huh?
Because you always have good news. You set the tone of the meet for the rest of the meeting.
This week we're a little bit shorthanded. Richard is on a well-deserved vacation. Took a trip to Florida with his wife.
Right, but left his son behind.
Again, well-deserved. Hopefully he's enjoying himself. So in the meantime, we're just, picking up the slack, doing some maintenance items. One thing I'd like to mention is we have 3 lead copper tests. We're waiting to get back. So if anybody that's a participant in it that's gonna watch this, please get those back into us. All of you have gotten them back to us. We appreciate that. Again, we appreciate everyone that participates in it. It's a annoying but essential part of, having a public water supply.
And we're off the hook for a year and a half, right?
Yes, yeah.
So
that you
do it and get it over with.
Yeah, do it, you know.
So,
Right.
other than that, more of the same old, and we had, I don't want to get into too much of the project, but we had Black Beach on the site yesterday. They were here for the transfer station. Sure, I'm gonna talk about that part, but they did a walkthrough of the wastewater treatment facility with us yesterday. We kind of talked about some of the vulnerabilities, just age-related things that could arise or already have arisen, and kind of figuring out what's the protocol if something were to, to fail, and what's the best method to address those. So again, this part of what we asked them to do as they came on board, and they're definitely holding up their end of the bargain. One thing I'd like to say about that as well is Friday, again, this is something that's way ahead of schedule. They're already going to be talking to us about tertiary treatment options, which is
The big thing. Yeah.
the big thing with that is, as well as that item is supposed to start as of May 15th and wrap up towards the end of August. So they're already,
Several months
Couple
ahead
weeks.
of time.
ahead
Good.
of time. So it seems like they already have 3 options that they want to talk to us about. So they've already narrowed it down, and we're going to work through those. So
How about how that relates to the outstanding water resource issue? That didn't we determine, they said that it's really not an outstanding water resource?
you referring to the Mad River.
Yeah,
Yeah, we haven't pursued a river study any further yet. I think I don't have an answer for you in terms of who we were gonna reach out to.
but doesn't that, how extensive the tertiary,
It does. Part of the issue is that, again, it gets to the EPA's mindset of the anti-backslide clause. And what they're gonna say is, you've had this permit since 1974. We don't, regardless of us pointing that out to them, they're just gonna, we haven't gone down that avenue yet.
Yeah,
But
okay.
we will. I think a river study is critical, and that's one of the things that's missing.
We also need to get the CMOM issue put to bed.
The what?
The CMOM issue, the
Capacity.
deadline from yesterday.
Oh,
So we need to get that settled with EPA, which the good news about that also.
Yeah, so the deadline that they extended, EPA extended us to was
First.
April 1st
Yeah,
of
right, April
2025. And Black and Beach, from what they provided us with, thinks they can get that done by September of this year. So that's, on our end, that's a really good faith effort.
So we gave them a solid date,
Yes.
so that
We
should help.
they gave us a solid
Date.
date to fix the missed deadline of yesterday.
Of yesterday,
Which is April 1 of next year.
right?
Black and Beach has already done a lot of the background investigation, and they feel that they can provide it tentatively by September.
Yes.
of this year. So we're gonna be way ahead. Once we get that report in, then I think we'll be in a good place to be able to go back to them with
The issue of the river,
the issue of the.
right?
So, again, they're firing on all cylinders as far as I'm concerned, definitely. Doing what we
They-
want them to do.
They also, yesterday when they were here, we talked about the Northern Borders grant application. And they've taken the application form
Mhm.
and they're reviewing what we have in there for narratives to make sure that we've covered from a technical aspect, everything that we need to. So that was totally unplanned, but they volunteered to help us out on a 2-day
Turnaround.
turnaround. So that's very good. It makes me feel a lot better about our app. So.
So, if you have any questions, if not, that's all I have for you today.
Okay, yes, we have Rick Smith, you have a question? No, just speak loudly.
When there's a river study done, do we do segments of the river? So I understand below the wastewater treatment process. But what about upstream to potentially identify any other causes of high phosphorus or whatever else they're looking for? I'm not entirely sure.
The river study would be to find out what the river can support, not what we're discharging to it.
Okay.
So it would be entirely upstream. And the idea behind that is to figure out what's the basis for what the EPA is telling us we can discharge, if it has a negative impact or any impact at all on the river.
Okay.
So to your point, yeah, it's all kind of part of understanding what the waterways can really handle from a nutrient load perspective. So
Okay. So that would have, I guess what I'm getting at is we have a golf course here in town that drains to the river. We have people who have lawns
Mhm.
upstream of this.
A lot of fertilization.
That would all be part of the baseline,
absolutely.
part of it. Okay, cool. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Megan, I think you have a lot of things to talk to us about.
I do have a lot of things.
And in fact, can we go to the others first in case?
Sure.
Like he gets called out or.
Okay,
Something.
sure. All right, well, I'll slew over to David and we'll work that room.
Skip right over you.
Oh, you're coming back. We're coming back.
It's all right, other than just what's in my bi-weekly report, we scheduled the pipe repair for May 23rd, 24th. Up in the bay with Rowells.
Mhm.
They'll be here since it's gonna take about a day and a half for the repair. So we'll anticipate just moving trucks and little minor inconvenience, but it shouldn't be any big deal. Getting ready for the Derby. Just securing our permits and Brooks handling all the registrations and t-shirts and stuff, and we'll be thinking about prizes and stuff during the next couple weeks, and sponsors and started putting banners up, and so we're starting to collect. Tyler's doing a lot of the legwork on that. We did set the Citizens Public Safety Academy. I know it was in there, but just to announce it, if anyone's listening, that May 23rd on Thursdays through June 20th, we'll be having Citizens Public Safety Academy here. We've got 5 classes set aside, and we'll be releasing a syllabus and an event online this week. Just been a little busy week. We're hoping to get it out Monday, but hopefully in the next day or two, that'll get posted up there. We had our first meeting, Brooke and I, and also Alicia took over for Judy on the National Night Out Committee. We had our first meeting. It looks like we should be back at the same location. That was a lot of the talk of potentially moving locations. We're having a lot more participation from the town of Plymouth, which is good. So hopefully it might a little bigger, a little better.
And that's at the Sugar Shack driving.
Same place.
Sugar Shack, same place, and it's gonna be the first Tuesday, which is the 6th, right?
In August.
In August. So we'll be planning ahead for that one. Very busy week fighting fires.
A real fire department.
Yeah. Considering since Saturday, one, two, three, four fires that, mutual aid fires. We've been at, the crews have done a very good job. And we've had a pretty good job, you know, keeping coverage around also, for town and or backfilling, for those fires, so. All said and done, the crews have done a nice job. And to mention that Coffee with a Cop will be on Friday, morning over at, Jugtown.
What time is that?
Starts at 8:30. We go till about 10 o'clock or until there's no more customers.
Or coffee.
For coffee.
Yeah.
And then other than that, if there's any other questions, in the report that you have, we will. Happy to answer them. Go ahead.
Any further questions?
You know, once you get dates on Tom Smith, just coordinate
Yeah, we-
for a plaque and.
Sure.
And then once we know what it might potentially will say, I'll contact his wife and
Okay,
get permission to do it.
sure.
That would be good. Yeah, we should also consider maybe a wigwag article if we have enough information.
Yeah, we'll see what
We could
standards.
do that.
See what you can come up with.
I may even go dig upstairs here too, so,
Mhm.
all that stuff got filed away, so I can probably go digging around up there and I might have a little bit.
There's a picture of him in a uniform on the legacy site on the Plymouth funeral home.
I didn't see that, so I'll see if I can grab it.
Yeah.
Okay, cause I don't
know.
think I have any pictures of him.
Yeah, Peter Adams,
Yeah.
Don Hyde might, but
Okay,
you can just grab that one maybe.
yeah, we'll do.
Alrighty. Thank you, Chief. Brooke?
Well, last week was vacation for me. That was very nice, but there was still a lot that got done last week. The gym floors were treated, refinished at the rec. So Tyler and with the help of DPW, they were able to receive and install the dock extension. So now the dock, I don't know if you've been to Town Square recently, but it actually, they changed the configuration. So instead of the U, just extending the U, we actually made it a T, so it goes out, so you can see the boats now from
That's
Town
good.
Square, so. You know, even past where the foliage will grow in, so
Yeah.
that will hopefully help and.
Yeah, right now it's very prominent, but
Yeah,
pre-foliage, right?
yes, yeah, when the foliage comes, it won't be like that, but yes, I see what you're saying. So, of course, the reason why we wanted to get a head start on that is because we do have two private rental type situations at the waterfront on the 10th of May and the 17th. Hold on.
Well, but by private, will others be able to?
Again, they were charged a, pre-season opening fee to do this at all. But then it will also go through the Freedom Pass program, and I have notified the other hotels to, of course, tell their guests that those days will be available for.
Okay.
use. The cleanup is on the 10th. I think I've talked a bit about that, so we'll need to have people show up at the rec department at 10 o'clock with their gloves if they'd like. And we will give roots and trash bags and provide a little gift from Roper Real Estate sponsor, and then also Hacienda will feed us afterwards at 11:30 at the rec department, so. That should be good. We've also had some requests for brush pile pickup. I've tried to, make sure everyone knows it's for single family homes, and we've received a couple of addresses.
Yeah, I have as well,
Okay,
they've called
great.
me,
Okay.
but we are planning to meet you there at the rec and follow behind and just pick things up as we go.
Is there a length, I think you mentioned, I've just forgotten, a length size for,
Yes. so
limbs?
it Has to be under 4 inches in diameter and no longer than 4 feet.
okay,
I noticed that, like across from the Snowy Owl, there's a lot of flow down in town that's on commercial property as well. Like
Yeah.
I just noticed today across from the Snowy Owl, there's a
Yeah.
big pile.
Yeah, the commercials have been coming in.
Yeah,
a lot.
especially today, they've been bringing everything up because we are burning tomorrow. And so Mike went around preemptively to all of the condos and commercial locations and said, hey, you can drop off on Wednesday, we are burning Thursday, so.
And I noticed that there were several commercials that had people out on their grounds just in
Mhm.
general cleaning up, so it must have been because Mike reached out to them.
Good.
So that is available and you can call and make arrangements with Mike if you don't make this burning.
Right. We're back to by appointment, right? Is
By
that correct? Wednesdays by appointment?
Yeah.
Be able to keep an eye,
Right.
with EPS's regulations for the
Yep.
size for burning, we do have to keep an eye on it.
Right. Okay,
The porta potties are supposed to be out the week of, the 13th of May, so next week.
these are for Packard Field.
Yep, and also, is that it, Steve?
Yep.
Just the Packard, yeah. So we'll have them placed in the same spot as they've always been behind the old shed, but we will be needing to move them. I did hear today that we should be expecting our new Packard Field shed by the end of the month, which is good news. We'll see, I'll keep you updated with.
We have to do some prep for that before it comes.
Would you like us to still take it down on the cleanup day, or do you want us to wait for a bit? and
It's
then
up to
take it
you entirely. We don't need it. So if we decide on a date, then we'll just make sure it's ready for demolition.
down? Okay, well, I know, Dave, you wanted to schedule some root cutting on it, correct?
We'll
That
coordinate,
training?
we'll coordinate outside of the meeting. Coordinate outside.
But yeah, I did get word that it would be coming, hopefully by the end of the month. Staffing, we are still looking for some camp counselors. I mean, it's not terribly late, but I like to get the word out.
It is May.
It is May,
Yeah.
yes, May 1st. And then also unfortunately got some news today that our intern is not going to be working out after all for the summer, which leaves a giant hole in staffing. So we are gonna be working on that. National Night Out, as Dave mentioned, is off to a start, and we're working on sponsors and all the things that come along with that. Dave takes the leadership role and does a great job of that. Thanks, Dave.
I was not voted.
We have lots of cycling, hiking happening, and people are signing up for that, and we're really excited to have that, cycling program happening again, so spread the word, it's super popular. We also signed up for the DES, beach program again for testing the water. So that begins, I think, in June is our first testing date, but Tyler will be the point of contact for that. And I will be the backup for that. So hopefully our water is great.
Moderate amounts of rain.
Yeah.
But not big dry spells.
Right.
Goldilocks.
Yes,
Mhm.
just right.
We have tons of private rentals coming up in May. Birthday parties, field rentals, boat rentals, pickleball rentals, Little Miss first aid class for 2 days, and then we have the fly fishing fundamental class through the state. So gonna be lots going on with the rec department. We will be sort of shifting to a smaller schedule of activities in June as we look to summer to finish out the school year with the kids, and also training for staff and getting everything ready, so.
And as I recall, you've got that coordinated at the last day of school and the first day of camps.
Yeah, so there's a window in there where we have or staff training,
Right, that's that week we usually have.
Mhm.
so, yeah.
How you doing on getting a van?
Well, I've given the specs to Megan and she's put it into the Volkswagen grant program to see what, and I haven't heard anything.
I submitted it today.
Yeah, there you go.
That's gonna be.
If we can get one, right?
Right, I mean,
We'll
that's
see.
why we went
That's
to
why
this
we went to the
route.
grant program.
But
Excellent,
I
right.
think it ultimately is probably gonna work out hopefully better, but it's very difficult right now to find vans, so.
Good, thank you. Any questions for Rec? Administrative Services, Steve.
Very brief in administration. I just wanted to give everyone a heads up that we'll be mailing the first property tax bill on the 10th, which is next Friday.
I still have the water bill on my desk.
Stack them up.
We are efficient getting the bills out.
And besides that, we're just gearing up for the new system.
Mhm.
Also the New Hampshire retirement system was kind enough to give us an audit the past couple of weeks.
Just what you needed right now, right?
Yeah, that was nice.
Right.
But
And the,
Passed with fine colors,
here we
I
go.
hope.
The move to the new system, is that still on track?
sure is.
Plenty of-
Yep.
So-
Yep, they have everything they need from us, and now we're
Less
just
than 3 weeks now.
waiting for May 20 when they actually they'll send 2 representatives from the company to be on site with us for 2 weeks as we build it out. I'll be there.
Very good. Thank you. All right, you're up, Megan. The meeting is yours.
All right, well, starting with roads, the paving is still on track. They're going to tear up the first 2 inches on Snow's Brook all the way through Osceola. And then they will lay pavement and the top May 8th. So that is still on track to happen next week.
From Village to Osceola, or is it Osceola to Village? Am I making sense?
Village to Osceola. They're gonna start at the end and work up to High Country. Yep.
Got it, okay.
And then the line striping will happen the next week, May 13th. That includes crosswalks and stop bars. So. The hydro seeding along Snows Brook, starts tomorrow, assuming there's no rain, but hydro seeding is tomorrow. As you can see, how we've blocked off the road for anybody to come in. We are replacing the culverts here on, Pack Lane, right at the end and right up on the hill right here at the edge. This one has collapsed, so we are replacing those, but it's just the cost of the culvert itself, which it's about $40 a stick, and we got 6 sticks, so. And then last week, GSM was here. They did a slight shim, almost comparable to a crack seal on Boulder Path Road, and they permanently fixed the patch on Noon Peak, and both those are being submitted to FEMA. FEMA is scheduled to do a site walk on the 13th as well, so I'll be walking around with them, giving them all the information, definitive damage, what we've done so far, things like that. Other things we've done, we did a bench inventory. We have identified at least 7 benches we 100% would like to do this year. I have given y'all a comparable of different.
How many do we have total, you know?
We have about 20 total.
20?
So
you're proposing-
have plaques currently,
Mm-hmm,
the rest do not, so.
okay. So you're
We have
proposing,
3 here in town hall, so there's a total of 10 plaques.
The ones we would 100% like to get replaced are both the ones located on Packard's Field, the one at the cemetery, the Osceola Library, and all the ones along Boulder Path. Those are the most used, so we'd like to get those replaced. But the type of benches, so I would like to go to a recycled plastic Trex bench instead of the normal cedar benches. I know everybody loves the cedar benches. They have a better look throughout town, a little more rustic, stick with the town vibe. But we can get the benches in certain colors, like green and cedar. They still have the wood look. They're just a little bit more durable. They last a lot better through all of the elements. I would like to put a pad underneath them so they're bolted down so people can use them proactively throughout the winter. We would try and clean them off as best we could.
so you'd leave them out,
Leave them out.
leave them out in the
Their
winter?
Trex with like those.
I did give you pricing there.
Mhm.
It is a little bit more expensive to start out with the Trex benches, but they last a lot longer. and they don't have the maintenance cost of the wood benches. We do and are supposed to bring in the benches each year to sand and reseal them. That is an additional cost to that. The benches there on the cedar are about $350. And that's wholesale if we were to order them from someone could possibly be overseas and then they should get shipped here. Historically, we have ordered from a local supplier and those run about $400 to $500.
So which ones were we replacing?
So I want to replace the two on Packards, the Osceola Library one that has fallen apart, the one at the cemetery and all the ones along Boulder Path.
Why the ones on Boulder Path?
Due to the last storm with the windstorm, they were taken quite a bit of ways and they are,
They're damaged
Damaged.
from the windstorm.
yeah, if you have other ideas, I'm more than happy to put them in.
Are you looking to replace all of them
Eventually.
eventually?
Mhm.
Do we know when those were originally purchased?
Those were about 15-20 years ago.
Originally, some of them we have replaced in the interim. They've been lasting probably 6 or 7 years before we need to update them.
I sat on a couple of them on Boulder Path today. You probably sit on them once in a while.
I actually moved those back from the golf course.
Right, two of them
I
have,
didn't think they were in bad shape, I'm not sure what happened. Maybe when they were paying attention. But can I say something?
please.
Last fence I built was in 1985, I worked for my father's fence building company, there are still fences that I put up. 30, whatever, how many years ago is that now?
A long
We
time.
don't want to talk about it.
So, yeah, let's not talk about that. In any case, I'd make a play for, I just like the look and the durability in my mind is not necessarily in question. If we want the Trex ones to last 60 years, okay. Like, I like the cedar stuff a lot better.
So with the cedar will have a higher maintenance cost. We should move them right in the winter. We didn't this year, but get them out of the elements. And
Well,
We
repair,
also need a place to store them.
right.
So
Where did we store them
Up
in the,
above.
above in the,
In the, up by the lagoons.
We went with a new picnic bench at Packard Field a
Mhm.
few years ago. It's not Trex, but it's another material I got for all the reasons that Megan just described. And, they're really nice and you don't have to leave them in the winter, they can stay out.
Mm.
And it's in terms of, because we used to put ours up in your mezzanine at all sides.
And
And the wooden benches that are out there were totally falling apart.
you don't have to worry about splinters too.
Right, splinter.
Well, and
a lot
that's
of-
the maintenance side of it. You're supposed to bring them in, sand them, treat them,
Mhm.
so that people don't have splinters.
But I did give you a whole list
Yep.
of reasons on there to
Yeah.
read that. It doesn't have to be a decision right now. In the next meeting or the meeting after, but I wanted to at least present it for.
Yeah, look
it to be
through
possible.
the material, think about it, and we can.
Okay,
We'll make it an agenda item.
yep, put it on the agenda for next meeting.
We have started a little bit of mowing, just in certain areas, is a little bit longer than the rest. We will start street sweeping on cleanup day as well, like along Boulder Path and things like that. But we will 100% be street sweeping everywhere, starting May 20th, after the roads are painted, so we can get it nice and swept up in case there's any residual glass beads, to be able to put delineators down, following that street sweep, and then go right behind and start sticking delineators May 20th. So,
Sorry,
Sorry, go ahead.
glass beads, what, from
It's
painting?
part
It's a
of
reflective.
painting.
yeah,
It's reflector.
Okay,
not, it is actual glass, but it's refined enough where it's smooth, so it doesn't hurt paws,
yeah, yeah,
things like
I
that.
didn't realize, okay.
So that is the plan right now. We did notice some broken glass from the light fixture on Boulder Path. We will be getting that taken care of tomorrow or Monday. Yeah. The highway crew and myself are actually attending a course tomorrow, specifically on pavement. It's supposed to go over the varieties of pavement, options to help maintain, revitalize it, and then different types of construction for it, along with some stormwater options as well. So that will be tomorrow. It's an all-day thing.
Friday, sorry, Friday?
No, so that's a different thing on
Okay.
Friday, yeah. This is all, that's just the three of us, so we're not taking the bus thing, but. And then David Britton's test pits are scheduled for the 14th and 15th. That is a 2-day long thing. It's about an hour per pit, so we'll be preoccupied those 2 days doing that.
14th and 15th.
14th and 15th, yeah.
Is that, sorry, at all weather dependent? Like if it rains, we'll have to get pushed out or?
They don't seem to think so.
Okay.
They're gonna do it.
As long as the vehicle can get,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's the issue.
sure, sure.
Back on the 19th, the highway crew and Piper, mainly Piper's excavator, but the highway crew, assisted the water department in fixing one of their brakes. Went as smooth as it could, even though it was flooding the entire whole time, so it was fun.
Couple of pumps.
But as far as that goes, and the board is old and new business, that's all I have.
Did some work in the cemetery. That's good. That needed it.
And we're ordering some bluestone to finish out the walkway.
Okay, just looking on old business.
How about the,
Yep, that.
It's under old.
It's under old business.
oh, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Did we need an update on the road paving or where we were at our last
We're
meeting?
waiting, I just, I think when I looked at the calendar, it's going to be the end of where's the date? Let me give you a date. Oh. I missed it. Should be by May 17th, I think was the deadline for the engineering work on Jennings Peak.
Yep, Mason's team.
Yeah, May 17th, and we don't have anything until he gets us the engineering, because Piper can't give us the bid
Sure.
till he sees what the engineer is putting on the plan.
Right,
So the rest of the work, Osceola, she already told you about. So
Mhm.
there's nothing else right now.
okay. Any other questions? for DPW, okay. Let us move on then to our calendar review. Next planning board meeting's 8 AM here on 9 May. Our next select board meeting also here at 3 PM on 15 May. And we have to come up with a date for our strategic planning meeting. I think Mark has proposed a
The
new date of
22nd.
22 May.
Are you?
Is that
I think it's okay. What day of the week is that?
So Wednesday.
The Wednesday.
right?
Yep.
So we're pushing it from, I think we would do,
The
It's gonna be
7th was
Thursday.
initially.
Yeah.
right,
sorry,
okay,
I
that's
Apologize, had
No.
staffing issues.
no problem. So we will do that 22 May and we're still looking at like 9 to 2, right?
Yep.
A place TBD,
We're gonna check.
all right? Let's move on to new business. We already did the community power plan. And something we all like to hear about is the revised town valuation calculation.
Yeah, so annually, the state does their equalization study, and I think Steve Hamilton had told us prior that sales are continuing to increase. Sales numbers are continuing to increase. And we see that we were down, according to this, we're down to 63.9%.
So even
Our
worse,
equalization, so it was even worse than the 71% that he had initially looked at. There was about a 2-month period in between his numbers and what the state used. So that change occurred during that 2-month period, so. So we're right now looking at. When we complete the statistical update, we should be somewhere around the 650 to 680 million mark. In total town valuation. Comparatively, right now, we're at about 504 million. So that represents the 36% increase. Looking back to 2020, the number was 333 million.
over
So
100%.
we're over
Doubled.
100% since 2020.
Do you have
In
a sense of
evaluation.
how other towns are
It's
comparing? Is it the
not,
same?
maybe not that much,
Yeah.
but it is increasing spectacularly everywhere.
It's,
Plymouth just finished their reval, 24, 25. Yeah, 24, 25%.
as you're in the assessment process, but that's
Yeah.
basically a property value
It's a
that
property
doubled
values have doubled.
in 4
Yeah,
years,
4 or 5.
4 or 5 years.
So, it is, there's nothing to compare to, not even the bubbles. Real estate bubbles of the 90s or 2006, nothing like this.
So, and everything's on track for the statistical.
Yeah, and we do want to point out, and just to reiterate what
Mhm.
the statistics say, everything is coming up. It is not a single, like a lot of the other property value shifts that I've always experienced have always been in sectors of the town. Maybe manufactured homes or single family homes or something like that will go up more than the rest of
Mhm.
the property in town, but this is across the board.
Hmm.
So
So across the board. and
Across,
and across the state.
vacant land and,
Everything.
yeah, it's everything is going.
How do they take into account stuff that hasn't sold?
They do comparable properties they compare to comparable properties that have sold. So if you have a single family home on an acre of land, they look at the number of bedrooms, they look at the location. And they can even look at other communities to some extent for different types of properties if they need to. We've always had that problem here because we had so few sales until now. I think we're gonna be looking at, I can't remember, I think it's around 70, 75 properties that sold during the statistical update that they're gonna be able to use as the markers. So that's a very large number of properties for us.
Do they make any accommodations for that when a town has such a shift? I mean, I guess this is unprecedented,
It's
but it just seems as though when we've had
Well,
that
we're-
issue where they've had to probably take multiple years
Yeah,
into account,
they have,
right?
yeah,
Versus.
and they've had to
the one
time
year being
adjust it
flooded.
and all that. Yeah,
It just seems as though they ought to have some way to.
as long as the trends are there, that is the market value at that time.
Yeah.
Now,
Hmm.
like in 2006, we were going the other way,
Yeah,
right? Property values were dropping steeply. So, and it happened in the 1990s. So you had to do revals for the opposite problem.
right.
So your equalization ratio, instead of being in the 60s, was 120. Right? So you were way overvalued.
Mm.
So. Yeah, it's a big change. But at least it's consistent in our properties.
That will help
Across-
somewhat. yeah.
That will help somewhat, so you won't see a
Condos
sector-
going up.
Condos going
And
way up,
single,
which has happened here before.
right. All right, and everything's on track for.
Everything is on track for the schedule, nothing has
Nothing has
changed
changed.
there.
Okay, light pole banner information. So Megan, you like to put banners instead of flags on our light poles?
So, it was an idea that was being talked around internally in the DPW. And I talked with Mark and he asked me to bring it up here. He told me that y'all had tried many years ago to do banners and it wasn't.
It didn't fly. No pun intended. People like the flags.
But I wanted to possibly see about bringing it up again and kind of get y'all's feedback on it. If you wanted to maybe try out an area of like 3 or something. But traditional flag setup, it really varies. The flags that we've historically been buying have been in that $100 range. And then the poles themselves cost anywhere from 15 to 57. This is just for traditional flags and flags. Traditional flags should be replaced every 90 days, if not damaged. You know, if you have a windstorm or something like that, if they're not damaged, about 90 days. Due to fading and things like that. And flag poles themselves only last through about 25-mile-per-hour winds. So before we cleaned up during the winter spring shift, I have found a lot of flag poles that have been bent due to one instance or another, kids, you know, bending them, things like that. The actual brand is called Banner Savers. Their poles only their poles last through about 90-mile-per-hour winds, and they were tested in the wind tunnel. They did do tests through a case study in Canada, and I actually reached out to their team to find out what their temperatures were like during that time in January that they did their case studies. And it ranged from single digits down to double negative digits. It just varied upon the day. And they lasted beautifully. They didn't crack, didn't damage in any way. And the banners themselves for this last anywhere from 7 to 10 years, depending if there's damage, things like that, if somebody were to rip it. But they do last through the 90-mile-per-hour winds as well.
So you leave them up year round?
You can leave them
We
up
would,
year-round.
we could replace, you know, we could have Christmas banners. we
Right.
could
Right, change out for
holiday,
season.
whatever.
Yeah. And like whenever we have our anniversary coming up, we can get special banners made if you wanna promote our.
200.
So right now, do we have a pole? that
We have
comes
a
up?
pole that comes
out?
out and
The
it's got it's at a diagonal and it's got a regular holder that they attach to the pole. And they do break.
I should know, but are those out now?
The flags
Um,
are not up,
yeah.
but some of the brackets.
Some of the
are still
brackets
there,
are there.
But we try to take them all down.
So it's typical, we take them down for the winter?
Yeah,
But how many?
the calculation throughout town, I believe, was 20.
Yeah, we have, I believe, 24, 25 light poles, something like that in total.
So, I mean, I would like to, if possible, try it out on the Boulder Path light poles. Only 3, pick them up on there, and see what the feedback.
Yeah, I'd like it to be in a vista kind of an area rather than try like Snows Brook where
Right.
not a lot of people see it.
Right.
I'd like to get it out where people can see it and,
form an
and it-
opinion.
and give us.
So would you do them on Boulder Path and just see what the reaction
See what the
is?
reaction is and then,
Right. Do you have a design in mind?
well, we'd
Okay.
like to do what's here,
Yeah, I would like to get the
American
regular
flag.
traditional.
The American flag?
American flag.
There are many other options as well if you want
Right.
to do something different, but this is the traditional with C's.
And are they two-sided?
They are two-sided, yes. There's so many options. I was looking through, I was
Mhm.
gonna print off more, but there were way too many options for me to try to print off. There's some for, Memorial Day for like veterans or.
Sure.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, and it's not necessarily Merry Christmas, you have happy holidays. things
Right.
like
There's
that.
all.
Right.
Vote for Bob.
You could do that.
I can
We
definitely
cannot do
motivate
that. There will be no voting.
Can we have them sponsored and then
No.
sponsor, no,
I would recommend not.
not,
But
right?
if there were an event.
If there's an
yeah, like
event.
casting for Kirby.
Yeah,
or
right,
that
right.
type of
we
We
thing.
could
put-
have
Like,
them made.
It
here,
would be
one,
nice
two,
to have,
here,
Yeah, we could have them sponsored
Yeah.
and put them up every year for
And-
casting for
Right.
Kirby.
Custom ones, we also would have to pick a size. I did the typical 30-inch, you could go larger if you wanted, but that is the typical size for ordering bulk banners. A custom one for the future, is anywhere from 125 to about 225, depending on, the colors and design.
So this 18 by 34, if we could put 3 of these up on Boulder Path Road and try them out.
Yeah.
Let's
that'd
do
be
it.
all right.
sure,
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds fine. I like the idea of being able to customize a few too, for
Yeah.
times of the years,
Yeah.
winter. And special holidays or
Yeah.
and something specific to Waterville Valley,
Yep.
Yeah.
like our 200th anniversary.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And really
Yeah.
nice to have them up year round. So you
Yeah.
have that
Right,
little
something
like
there.
that eye.
All right, well, let's
good.
go ahead and do it, and I don't know how long to give it, but
Oh,
will
I'm
we-
sure we'll hear.
well, they'd be where flags would be, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
it won't be. thought it
So
was
in the
going to,
meantime,
but-
we just put those up and don't put anything else up.
Right. Let them see them for right now.
Right, don't put the flags up as
Right,
we normally
For
would
right now.
for right now.
Okay.
But would we put flags up by Memorial
We
Day?
would try to get the American
Yeah,
flags up
okay.
by Memorial Day.
Okay.
Yep.
That works. Okay, that's the banners. Do you want to turn to the
Vehicle naming.
naming? Yes.
Right into that, so, I did make the list there for you
Mhm.
of, the names that came in, there were some duplicates of the names. So the duplicates of the names are the top 2, that came through town. The DPW itself, I had them vote on which ones they liked, just, so they felt,
Comfortable riding in a vehicle with a
Yeah.
name associated with it.
The one they picked for the 2024 Ram was Blizzard of Oz. The 2020 Ram was Darth Vader. If you can see by the last one there, somebody was definitely a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Hey,
Um,
whatever.
The JCB, they liked Scoop Dog. And then for the skid steer, they liked Sid Skid.
Like what?
Sid.
Skid.
This is number B.
Oh, I think,
Okay.
I think the other ones that should pick.
They're fine by me.
Yeah.
Wendy, did you
Yeah,
have any in
I-
particular that you wanted to?
Nope.
I think they're good, a lot of good names.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you for participating.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with those. With those names, and they don't have to be permanent. If for some reason we change our mind.
So
we
you
can
have like some sort of naming ceremony, like with a vessel of both,
Get the champagne.
Champagne bottle.
maybe like root beer or,
Sid's
kid friendly.
Love it. All right,
All right, let me get back to my agenda here. Sorry. I don't have a printed one, so give me a minute. Okay, we're still repelling borders, it seems.
did I do that again?
Northern Borders Grant
Sorry.
Opportunity Update.
It's. Never mind, I have no excuse. So, 2 things.
Yeah.
We are completing the application. We have to have it ready by 5 o'clock. On Friday. And turned in, to Northern Borders. Had a technical assistance meeting with North Country Council and one of the grant writers that Northern Borders provides. To have available to towns, as they're preparing their applications. Spent about an hour and a half with them this morning and went through the whole application. I had several forms and things that weren't working properly, and they helped identify what the problems were. So, right now, our narrative is with Black and Veatch, and
Mhm.
they're, coming up to make sure that the technical wording is correct. I don't see any problem right now, with getting the, application, completed by the deadline and turned in. There are two things that I request from the board. There's a resolution that I put at your place.
Mhm.
Maybe we talked about that last time, but
Mhm.
there's where it says resolve. We need a resolution from the board that you voted to appoint an authorized official to actually complete the forms, and I have to upload the resolution. So the resolution is right here.
The very
And
first,
the very, no, well, where it says resolved, that Mark Dakota, the town manager, right here on the first page.
got it, second paragraph, first
Yeah,
page.
second paragraph. Yeah, so that would be the resolution that we would need, and then have Rich sign the form.
For the people listening, why don't you
Yeah.
just
So,
say
yeah.
what this grant is for?
Northern Borders Grant, Northern Borders Commission is a regional group, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, along the northern parts of our state. They provide grant opportunities for infrastructure, improvements and economic development initiatives. So we are applying, under the, wastewater treatment facility for our maintenance and operations plan development. It's really engineering work, and investigation of all the sewer lines in town, so that we can repair them and have less infiltration, rainwater and stuff come into the sewers.
Mhm.
It's gonna help us treat less water. So that's good for us in the long run, and will give us some excess capacity when we're doing the plant design. And it could affect our loads, that we're seeing.
Could affect the overall footprint of the new facility
Right.
as well. to
Yeah.
shrink that down,
Yeah.
reduce
Yeah.
costs.
Smaller, better.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the opportunity. It's a $500,000 project, and it's a 50-50 grant match. And we would use, monies that have already been authorized by the town for the treatment facility project as our match.
Right.
For the
So
200.
The bottom line is just, it would be a savings.
A
to the
savings
town.
The
of
savings if it's granted
250 if we get
to
it.
$250,000.
Yep.
So I will make the motion that Mark Dakota, who is the Waterville Valley Town Manager, is empowered to act on behalf of the town of Waterville Valley as the authorized official to sign all documents related to the town's NBRC Catalyst Grant application and represent finances related to the grant award.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, on that vote, I will sign this as the chair, make sure I have the right date.
Hmm.
And year. Okay, anything further on it,
Very
Mark?
good. The other thing is the letter of support that's in your packet. These are just backup letters that get uploaded to the website with the grant application. It just
Mhm.
lets MBRC know that as a board, you know about the application and you support it. And so the wording can be whatever you want.
Okay.
I just use some typical language that we've used in
Right.
other grant applications.
Do you have a
For the
pulled up,
approach.
Wendy?
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and make the.
Yep.
Make the motion.
Yeah, I'll make the motion. Everyone's good with the wording, right?
Mhm.
You read it. I make a
Mhm.
motion that we accept the letter of support for the Northern Borders Regional Commission Catalyst Grant Application, letter of support. As written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and Rich, I'll print this off without draft, and if you can stop and sign it tomorrow.
Yep,
Get it
sure.
uploaded.
sure.
Very good.
Okay, let's move on to the wastewater treatment facility update. But back to you, Dylan.
On the basis of the design report, there's nothing new to report. Like I said, the only update that I really have is Friday. It's just kind of a a glance, if you will, at what they're looking at for tertiary treatment methods or technologies, I should say. And from there, hopefully, it will just be one, chain effect, if you will, and we'll just kind of seamlessly add the liquid treatment system, which is what we're working on, or Black Beach is working on currently, and that'll just, kind of add some cohesion to the, all these questions that have been up in the air for the last few years in terms of what we really need for the wastewater treatment facility. So.
When do you anticipate, given the way things are starting to flow now?
Yeah.
Pardon the pun. It was completely unintentional. When do you think there'll be something for the board to consider in terms of a basis of design?
Well, basis of design, I believe, is to be completed by, is it November?
November.
Is it that far down?
Yeah.
I won't say it. I won't say
It
it.
seems like they're going to, fingers crossed, it seems like they're going to
Right.
meet that timeline, but.
So when will we be looking at, okay, here are the recommended designs, this is what it's gonna look like? Is that the,
Probably
Yeah.
in that timeframe. maybe
In that
a little
timeframe.
before, But yeah.
okay,
that's
so
what
there's
we
still
expect.
quite a bit of time before we have a,
I think their very first drafts on the schedule are mid-October.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
the actual recommendations for this is what we
Right.
recommend you build.
Right.
Will be in November.
okay. Very good.
If I might.
Yeah.
On the finance side, we're expecting the first round of billings from Black and Beach to happen, not next week, but the following week. So Dylan and I scheduled a meeting with the project manager on Friday, the 17th, to review that first billing cycle with them. And just so we can kind of get into some kind of a pattern of what to expect as we go through the basis of design contract and what their billing style is, so we can, make sure that our financial software can kind of marry up with what their phases look like through the project. And I just want to get it right the first time here, because we're going to have a lot of different revenue sources, as you know, coming into us throughout the life of this project. And I want to, Dylan and I both want to make sure we're doing the best job we can with tracking the ins and outs.
Good. Anything else, Dylan, on this part of the project, right?
Again, all is positive though.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Shall we speak to the final payment to HTA? Let's leave it,
Yeah.
let's leave that for the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that for the moment.
Transfer station project update. So we got the PBN, right?
No, unfortunately.
Like Dylan said, the environmental and survey team were here, last week gathering information. And then yesterday, Mario and his team were here, getting a little more information as well. And they have their own internal clock that they're trying to beat, and they're hoping to have us, some documents by the end of this month. So hopefully if that happens, we'll be fingers crossed out of the AOC by next month. But that's what we're looking at right now. We did have to resubmit the waivers, so that was done on April 23rd. So that does restart the clock there. So we're just hoping to get this.
So 60 days,
60.
mid-June.
Right. But we're not planning anything till the fall, right?
No,
Right.
we're talking about getting the
The
PBN.
PBN, right? That's not right.
PBN is totally separate
Right.
from the construction down
Right.
here. So
No, I was combining the.
we're trying to get a plan in front of DES so that we don't have to do the construction before the AOC is removed. We're trying to get them to agree. You've got your plan in place, you've got your construction, you're running a good operation right now. And the construction is really just to put the fence in on a more permanent, not permanent basis. So, yeah. And make some other minor tweaks, but
Yeah.
hopefully the AOC will go away before December.
Over the next few weeks, we're gonna be making slight adjustments down there just to get it within the footprint that is being presented to DES. Like, make it look like what we're submitting to DES.
Okay,
Yeah, so things may move around
Ed?
inside the fence, but.
people
that's-
still come to the
that's
same
still-
shed
They're
to,
still coming in the same gate. and
Right.
Yep,
and we're still keeping the hours and the days as they are for the time being.
everything for the time being, yeah.
Good.
Sunday is our busiest day. Sunday and Thursdays are our busiest days.
Mhm.
Tuesdays are kind of,
Less
I
so,
wouldn't say slow, but
Meh.
less busy.
okay. And just because it's related, I noticed that Piper has already begun work, up at the so-called upper.
Yep.
Transfer station area, we should probably
Yep.
call it something else, but I don't know what to call it. at the
Right.
moment.
But
But
so,
The upper entrance to the wastewater.
there we go, the upper entrance, is-
Yep.
Access road.
Access road to the wastewater.
right,
Lagoon access.
Same idea.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's, so that's going
That's on-
as we had
Going,
discussed
the-
and approved.
The culvert is on order. And
Mhm. When do you think they'd have all that?
The 10-week
Done.
time on the culvert.
That's right, I've
Yeah.
forgotten about that, so,
so I think realistically,
Mhm.
August, September timeframe.
which is,
by
I
the
think,
time
what
we
you
get
briefed,
everything.
had briefed earlier, I had just forgotten the.
Yep.
The date.
For the other,
For the upper,
Okay.
I mean, it'll be usable before then, but. But for final, for everything by
Right.
the specifications, probably September is realistic.
Yeah, conceptually, they can do work on the inside and the outside. It's just once they lay that culvert in its
Yeah.
proper location. You know, I can't see that taking them
No,
terribly
Right.
long to complete the work after that.
Good,
and
And
it
it'll
is,
look nice.
it is good because the first things that they're doing is they're boxing out Osceola Road, the far end of Osceola right now. And they're able to take that material and put it in that area
oh, okay.
to keep them from having to import
okay,
material.
good.
So that's a cost savings for us.
Any questions from the board on the transfer facility, new, old, or otherwise? All right. Board, board concerns and directives. Anybody?
I had
Mhm.
something I
Please.
neglected to mention at the last meeting, with the MSW working group. I believe I had shown this board before, the green cones,
No, I don't remember.
perhaps not, but, the
Solar
town-
food waste digesters.
Yeah, the town of Keene with the NRA had gone through and done like a basically assisted distribution of these, I mean, they're technically composters.
I was gonna say.
But it's not,
Fancy name
it's
for
not,
compost.
yeah, it's not really a traditional thing where you have to go in and turn
Right.
it. You basically. I talked to the fellow who does the distribution in the US, they're made in the UK. But they're basically a drop and go. So there's a cone that's above ground, a basket underground.
Mhm.
The idea is you drop things in, it's an insulated double wall, the heat from the sun helps. And you can add little enzymes, it percolates and gets things out through the basket at the ground, so you don't have to do anything to it. So the MSW group was super interested in, of course, ways to eliminate.
As much from the
waste
stream,
from
right,
waste,
from a
yes.
waste stream, sure. With-
So food waste
Compostable.
is a big thing, and this would be a non. an
how
inactive-
big is it? We're looking at, is that?
You can see
It's
a
big or-
picture
Yeah, yeah,
compared to a kind of dog you see in Waterville
yeah,
Valley.
kind of a lab size, I
Yeah.
guess, when we're in the lab. The other interesting thing is not that it would be something that could be done on a town basis, but for individual people, they can handle pet waste as well. So this is potentially, but anyway, there's in talking
It's
to. the-
organic.
Exactly, no, and talking to the fellow who runs the distribution,
Mhm.
Vermont is actually their biggest state where they do business.
Mhm.
And I found that interesting because, of course, one of our concerns was critters, especially bears
Right.
being
able to-
affected,
right.
yeah. So bottom line, he basically said that they hold up pretty well. You know, occasionally they get knocked over, sometimes the lid gets torn off, he does have replacement lids. But the group thought it would be helpful to have a few guinea pigs.
Mhm.
Kind of along different points, and there were, well. They do offer lower priced models for such a thing. You know, when Keen did it, they brought in, I think, 2 or 3 pallets worth and 25 per pallet. And sold them at a great discount to people in town and
Mhm.
helped them install them and all that. I mean, you can do like meat and eggs, everything goes right in them, so. They're very
Keen, is that what you said?
Keen, New Hampshire, yeah. So. That seemed like a good idea, but of course we need to know how they would act here. So there were 4 of us on the board who thought, you know, in talking about different topographies in town. You know, we have Barbara who's kind of up higher in a more ledgy place by the forest. You know, Rick was talking about being out in the north end,
Mhm.
here in the condo. I'm in a very wet spot. So we thought maybe trying 4 of them would be a way to see, you know, I mean, I know I have a bear that comes through in the fall and gets my apple drops, and of course, we're all in different spots and
Mhm.
whatever critters could be attracted, so,
Raccoons, bears,
yes.
the usual.
Yeah, and you know, it is double walled and it has the lid, so the hope is that the temptation isn't too great for the.
And I
our
don't think it
wild
would be
neighbors.
being used in Vermont, especially if it were gonna be a major
Huge
problem
issue.
here.
Exactly.
So could there be a bear knock it over?
Well, apparently what has happened on a couple of occasions that he knew of is that the basket is buried and the cone top screws into it. And so, yeah, the bear can knock over the cone. Apparently the cone has stayed intact on a few occasions this has happened. And, you know, he said, well, then people just stand it back up and use like soil to hold it in place so that anyway, it sounded like there could be a risk of habituation for the bear to keep coming, a potential bear to keep coming back to the same location. So that's the concern. I think that the cone itself would withstand it and would be able to still be usable, but we wouldn't necessarily want the bears to know to come to the same places day after day to knock it over for a treat. It's not a trick. We want them to learn. So, the cost would be approximately 200 each. Because shipping is the
Has
difficult
anybody
part.
talked to Keen or
Yeah, I
any place
spoke-
in Vermont?
Yep, I spoke with someone who participated in the Keen program, and he hasn't had any trouble. The only critters he had kind of pay attention to his cone were his own dogs. And so he was able to discourage that. He loves it. He says it just you can use it year round. In the winter, we spoke back in January, he said his cone was about like 70–80% full. Because the digestion is slower, but in the summer it tends to be like 10–20% full. And I think he had a household of 3 or 4, and they just put all their food scraps in. And they just slowly,
So it digests
Disappeared.
for whatever time, and-
whatever length of time, depending on what the food is,
right?
yeah,
And then what happens with the residue?
it just goes out through the holes
Goes
in the
out into
basket.
the basket and now
So-
the nutrients go out.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
and
see.
you
So
don't
the
have
real,
to do
there's
anything,
nothing.
There's
there's just
nothing.
literally nothing, and so it seemed like a great thing for second homeowners, for
Mhm.
condo associations. But it'd be good to know the realities for
Mhm.
Waterville Valley usage.
Sure. I mean, I'd be willing to volunteer too. Be looking for different areas around.
Yeah.
Around town, to see if it'll work, if we wanna go.
If,
Or-
if we wanna support the expenditure. That's sort of.
Well, if we're talking 4 or 5, we can see, and then let's go 5, and if we see if it works. Then we could see if we can bulk or let people
Right.
pay, right, if they
exactly.
want one. but-
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
What do you think, Bob?
Well, I'm just not sure it's a town expense if it's to go on individual properties.
Mhm.
It seems like people in the committee might want to, for $200, do one themselves and as a test for the town, as opposed to the town spending the money.
Okay, I suppose the thought was that since it's a
Yes.
working towards a larger diversion, because food waste is approximately 25% of overall MSW. So if we can get a lot of people in town to buy in, because we've had these people, be guinea pigs. so to
Right, so
speak.
They have restaurant size ones,
I wish.
because I mean,
know.
that's where the,
That's where it is.
That's a
Yeah.
big
Right.
part of the
I mean,
issue.
the residential's gotta be a small percentage of the,
Well, I mean, I don't know, for a while was
I try to
measuring what
cook my plate every night.
yeah.
Or your
but-
dog.
Yeah, for a while I was measuring like what waste I created and it was composting and it was about 2 pounds a week. And that's just for one person, it's all the scraps and the peels and the whatever.
Or
And
maybe
it ends up-
Maybe some sort of sharing program with people for the tests. We just want to see if it'll work to convince people.
What if we did the test and then have a pay, if it works, then do
Oh,
like
yeah.
Keene and maybe do a 75-25.
Yeah, no, that's what I was,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I wasn't necessarily proposing that the town would purchase them for everyone who's interested. It was
Yeah.
more like if the town can do a bulk purchase, it almost halves the price. For those who'd be interested in
But-
purchasing one for themselves.
The point is, I think people would be hesitant to try it now
Yes.
until,
Without knowing.
without knowing if it would work, so
Exactly.
whether they want to put up the 200.
Yeah, well, with a bulk buy, it'd probably
Yeah.
be, hopefully be closer to 125.
If we go bulk,
Yeah.
but we gotta get people to buy in.
Surprising, it's just so little.
Well, once you can do a lot, the problem is the shipping. Because they are bulky, but as soon as you can stack them together and on a pallet. And freight it instead of, whatever UPS, then it's.
Maybe I can reach out to Keene and see if they have any, and maybe we can purchase one from them at a lower rate.
Or 3 or 4.
Okay, or maybe, yeah, through NRA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or see if NRA has.
Sure.
in that way. If
I mean, I,
We're not spending $200 on them.
right,
Plus
Okay.
shipping.
Well, hopefully with the samples, they do have an option for municipalities to do samples, so I think the 200 could include the shipping, but yes, it's still,
yeah.
if we talk 5, that's $1,000.
Yeah, I think it's worth the test to try. We're looking for ways to,
Mhm.
even if it's just a small amount. Give it a shot.
Yeah, what are you thinking, 3 or 4 of them?
Yeah, 4 or 5, depending, just trying to get the different types of substrate around town. But, whatever the board, I'll recuse myself, so whatever the board, whatever you guys think, even just try to.
Yeah, I'm fine with whatever number you're comfortable with, Bob. You want to go forward?
Try 4,
Okay.
Okay,
Let's
then
see
you
if
gotta
it
figure
works.
out where you're gonna put them.
we'll see. Well, we're gonna use the 4 volunteers.
Oh.
From the
MSW,
board,
Okay,
Because
Yeah,
we had. them
because they're
pretty
spread
different
out over
substrates.
town.
Yeah.
Over town. And then we'll check with Keene DPW to see what they have. And if they don't have them, we'll order them.
About how long do you think for the test? Or comfortable?
I would say probably through the fall,
Mhm.
just because then you get the full. It's the bears that keep
Or
coming back
even
to the full.
even a year.
Push.
Maybe
Well,
as
true.
long as a year.
Yeah,
See
just
how,
the
see what
winter
happens in
goes.
the winter.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I think you should test it for a year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
put the American flag on the side. Save the money on the polls.
Yeah, okay,
Thank
so
you.
we'll get 4 and try it for a year.
Alrighty, I have one, concern. Bob, did you have anything? So I'm wondering if we have any word yet on the, barrels, the plant barrels, the whiskey barrels. Have we heard anything?
No, I have not gotten anything back from Sean yet, but we
Right.
have a plan once we hear from
Okay.
Sean. That Megan and I have talked about, so I'll come back and let you know
Okay.
what that is, but.
Yeah, I just think
Yeah.
we have to do something
Yeah,
sooner
we
now
will.
rather than
It
later
will
because
get
it's
done next
May.
month, yep. Before Memorial Day is our goal.
Great. Let me just pull this back up. Correspondence, Amy has asked that we postpone discussing her correspondence to the board and town staff until our next meeting on the 15th. And I see Mike Fergal and his as a foundation representative this time sent an email on the it's not called the Stories of Wonder Points. That's
Wonder
it.
points.
Based on the Stories of Waterville Valley
Mhm.
proposal a couple of
They
years
have
ago.
3 of them up.
I've
now.
seen them. I've gone to them. Yeah. Yeah, it's
And
quite nice. You
just
just
to
point your
get-
phone at it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it opens up.
Yeah,
Cool.
I saw one. I think they still look nicer if they posts were stained to match,
Mhm.
you know, the posts that we have with the wayfinding signs. But They look
We
nice.
mentioned it. too.
Yeah, let's see if they're willing to go forward with that. So did they need any further approvals from us on town property? I know we asked for a library and they're just waiting, he's just waiting to hear back.
There's
Yeah.
three of them,
Library
one by the
trustees.
bridge,
Yes.
There's
one library, one,
well, the 3 now, there's 2 are on Boulder Path, on other opposite sides of Boulder Path.
Mhm.
And the third one is,
Letter.
maybe I haven't seen that one. 1, 2. Well, no matter.
Stone Tower, Osceola Library, and behind the guardrail by the bridge overlooking the pond.
Right,
Those are the ones on town property, but there are more.
right. But he was asking for permission to go forward with town
On the
property.
town property.
I think the way we had left it was in the spring we decide and I'm
It's
fine
the
with it.
spring.
It's the spring,
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
I think the ones they have up look fine.
Okay. So you're
Could
okay
they
with
could look
these?
better, maybe?
They could look a bit more finished with some stain, but,
Right.
you know, it's just that, you know, that naked
Right.
pressure
Yeah.
treated look.
I'll say please stain. Okay,
It'd be pretty, yes.
okay. Yep.
Okay, is there anything else for the public portion of the meeting? All righty. All right, let's go ahead and go into non-public. Rick, thank you for coming. Take care.
Bye.